Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Growing Orchids in Jamaica. Today I will be focusing on the red orchids in my garden. Even though they are all red, they have different characteristics. If you want to see my red orchids, why don't you stay tuned right after this intro? The first one that I will be looking at is the Maranta Solai Red. The bloom is tart shaped with some rectangular pattern in it, and it is quite attractive. If you look at it, it also has a little tint, a little yellow in the center of the lip, and this is really a beautiful plant. It is a prolific bloomer, and this one has on 2 spikes and is really putting on a nice show, and that is the Maranta Solai Red. Just look at how beautiful it is. This is showing you again from the front section of the plant and just showing you how beautiful it is. Look at that. Just look at the pattern in the flower. They are just so stunning and outstanding. The next plant is the Renanthera. And this plant boasts a spectacular red bloom which will capture the heart of any orchid grower. If you look at it closely, you'll see that it is sort of velvety and rich in color. It has a little cream with some little spots in the center of the lip. This plant is kind of a little lengthy because what I realized that it likes to be watered, and if you don't water it frequently, and it likes to be fed too, and if you're not feeding and watering frequently, then it will get a little lengthy. So I will have to repot this pretty soon. What I tend to do with them is to just cut it back and repot when it gets lengthy. This other one is a Arantero. I think this is the honey black. This one is actually an old bloom, so it's not as red as it was when it was freshly opened. So now it looks more of like a burnt orange, but it's actually between the burnt orange and red when it's newly opened. But as I say, it's an old bloom. But nevertheless, I had to throw it in the mix because it's blooming now in my garden. That's the Arantero orchid. Now, you know I always have a star plant whenever I'm doing my video, and this is my star plant. This is a Margarita Top Red. It's a very big plant. I actually got a division of this plant from a friend of mine, and believe me, it has not stopped blooming. It's a very prolific bloomer, and the plant tends to grow very fast, so it's actually a tall plant. And if you notice how tall it is, right, and it put on this stunning show. So that's the Margarita Top Red, and it is also beautiful. It too has a little creamy yellow in the center of it, and I think it's mixed with the Arantero as well. I'm not sure of the full cross of it, but it is a beautiful plant, and it is called the Margarita Top Red. This other one now, which is another red bloom in my garden, is the Diana Shore. This one is not a big plant, but it is a constant bloomer, and because I'm focusing on the red, of course I had to throw this one in the mix. Now this is another star plant, and this is a Renanthera Crystallo. What I find with this plant, it takes a while before it actually starts blooming. It seemed to me like it has to be at a certain height or maturity before it actually blooms. But once it starts blooming, it never stops blooming, and it just knows how to put on a spectacular show. Look at how beautiful this plant is, and any angle you look at it from, it is just such a beautiful plant. And this is another red vanda in my garden that is really stunning. This one seems to have a little dark color in the center of it with a little bit of orangey color, and of course that spectacular red, which also from a distance has a similar velvety look as a Renanthera. Now look at that. That's a close-up, and just look how stunning it is. This is one plant that any orchid grower would want to have in their garden, and I'm so happy to have one in mine. That's the Crystallo. This next plant, I don't have an ID for it. However, this is another one that has to grow pretty tall before it actually starts showing you with blooms. But once it starts blooming again, then it just never stops blooming. Look at this one, and this will give you 2-3 spikes at a time. Just look at how beautiful it is, and this is another red in my garden. And this is actually a very tall plant. It has on 2 spikes, right? Because there's one just about opening up. Wow, look at it. This is actually such a tall plant. Let me just show you what it looks like from the root up. And actually, when they get this tall, I tend to cut them back and replant the top of it. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And so you never miss another video, please subscribe to my channel. And as we say in Jamaica, just follow back a me. This is the Orchid Duck, and I am growing orchids in Jamaica.